Hi, and welcome back for more adventures in automation. Last time we had a long look at getting IP Fabric set up ready to act as our operational source of truth in our demo network. And I suggested that this time we'd be looking at getting data out of the system. Well, I had to think about it, and to be honest, I thought that maybe we should take a little detour this week. There's something else worth covering before we dive straight in. Often, as techies, and I'm as guilty as anyone with this, we get overexcited about the shiny new toys. And we don't really consider what it is that we're trying to achieve before we jump straight in. I get carried away like everybody else. So let's consider what it is that we're trying to do and why we're doing all this for a moment. What's the point of doing all this automation stuff, and how do we go about doing it in a structured way to get the best from it? Let's face it, while we get excited about connectivity, about the cool technologies we get to play with to connect users to apps and things to data stores, fundamentally the business doesn't care about switches and routers, circuits and routing protocols. The network underpins all of the business's IT, and without it, that IT stops. System availability is king, and the foundation to all systems is our network. So we're trying to achieve maximum uptime, resilience and proactive operations. Now you and I both know that automating the network operations, whether that's standardizing and templating config, or capturing and proactively checking state before things go wrong, or running scripted tests before and after changes, all of those things improve the quality of our service. And that's the key to selling automation to the business. Make consumption of the network frictionless, maximize uptime, minimize disruption when issues occur. Simple. So we need to consider our automation projects with these things top of mind. If you can answer some simple questions as you embark on your project, you'll be able to get the support that you need from the business in terms of time and resource to make it happen. Number one, how am I improving the fault tolerance of the network? What preventative measures am I introducing? Number two, how am I making it easier to troubleshoot the network? What is it that I'm doing to minimize the mean time to resolution? Number three, how am I making the network service easier to consume? How does the business interact with the network itself and its support infrastructure? Number four, how am I enhancing the security of the company and customers' systems and data? Am I improving policy implementation and audit? And number five, how am I enabling the business to meet its regulatory and compliance obligations? What targeted reporting capabilities can I introduce as part of the process? These are the same questions we should be asking with any network project, right? In that way, automation, and indeed the broader topic of network operations, is no different to any other technology project. Don't focus on the shiny new tech, but on the business benefits of deploying it. I've written a companion blog post for this episode. Feel free to pause the video, go have a read. The link's in the notes below, but make sure you come back. Okay, so the business has now given us the nod to proceed. Now the fun begins, right? Fire up VS Code and let's get programming. Hold your horses. We've thought about the why. We now need to consider the how before we just dive straight into the what. No automation project worth doing will have a linear flow, i.e. do this task, then this task, then this task, then stop. Every operational task we carry out in the network has to be repeated across a range of elements, or has dependencies on other tasks or data, and it will be conditional on the existence of certain states of certain devices. How do we know what data we need from which devices to make decisions? How do we know which elements need to be changed to add new capabilities? It's vital to take a structured approach here, so we know what elements are needed to be changed, where data comes from and goes to, where code is required, what changes in operational process are needed, and so on. We can save ourselves time and effort in chasing our tails through spaghetti code if we carefully consider the broader impact of these processes first. I've pieced together a 5-step plan for tackling automation tasks that serve me well so far. I'll walk through those steps briefly now, but again, look out for a companion blog post to drill down a little deeper into these. Firstly, we write a problem statement, defining the scope of the issue that we're trying to address. The process of writing this down alone is probably worth its weight in gold, because you'll start to consider how different parts of that task interact and where the dependencies are, which leads into mapping out the current workflow and highlighting the weaknesses. Take that problem, break it down into its constituent parts, understand where it can go wrong, and look for opportunities to extend its reach, providing data into other areas or systems. Rearrange it into a target workflow. Use a flowchart maybe, or a quasi-programming format that we often call pseudocode. Look at regularly repeated subtasks, loops, conditional branches and so on to give the structure of the solution. Consider the tooling you might want to use. Some platforms may allow you to shortcut a lot of the work as they do it for you. Then we iteratively refine those tasks and subtasks until we've got atomic actions defined for the input and output of data and the actions on external devices and systems. Then and only then do we reach for our programming tools and start getting on with the coding. Test and document API calls, assemble the logic from the pseudocode, build reusable classes and functions for repeated tasks, and a whole load of other best practices to follow there. More on those another time. As many as 3/4 of all network automation tasks undertaken are concerned with iterating through the network, retrieving data, collating it all, and analysing it in some shape or form. This is no small feat, especially when you take into account today's complex multi-vendor, multi-domain environments. There's an awful lot of work to do just to get a consistent view of all of that data across the network. Luckily for us, IP Fabric already does a huge amount of that for you. We've already seen its discovery in action, and that will take away a lot of the grunt work from you and give you access to all of that information you need through simple API calls into the platform rather than go searching through network devices themselves. In our next video, we'll dig into that API a little bit further. We'll start to see the structure of the data that's stored in the platform and how we can consider using it in step 5 of our process. I hope this has been useful. If nothing else, it should have sparked off a few questions and thought processes in your mind. Please don't forget to like the video and comment there to continue this discussion. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell to get the updates as new videos are released, and feel free to email me or join us in the IP Fabric channel on the Network to Code Slack if you want to continue the conversation. If you're interested in a trial of IP Fabric, you can get a 30-day demo license at the URL that I'll put on the screen, or we can arrange a test drive and a proof of concept if you contact us through the website. Thank you for your time. I hope to see you soon for more adventures in automation.